Hello, everyone. If you are joining us online, everyone here in person is jealous of you and your air conditioning. I just want to let you know. It's warm, isn't it? Oh, it's not? Oh. That's pretty good then. The cold front is helping us out. So my name is Greg Knight. I am the director of spiritual development here at First UU. And I will not be talking very much tonight.
Huh.
This is actually a wonderful opportunity to have a conversation about communication here at First UU and how we communicate events, classes, special occasions, worship, outreach programs, things like that. And so we have recently formed a communications task force to look at how communications run. And heading up that task force for us is Frank Wang. Hello. Hi, guys.
Hi.
And I'm going to turn the program over to him to lead us through how we're looking at communications going forward.
Thank you, Greg. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Webster Dictionary defines communication as I thought about starting the presentation like that, but then midway through it, I thought I was really boring, very old fashioned of me to do that. So we'll dive into it. Um, for Jeffrey and I, we have been coming to first UUPB since March, and we really enjoyed everyone, the community. Um, and this year has been really great for us. Having too much. Okay. So so then well, I lost what I was trying to say. Anyway, so it's been great, and I thought there's opportunity for us to work together to improve our communication both internally and externally, as a way to improve a lot of things, improve our spiritual development, improve our individual development, and also relationship among us and potentially new members. So, um, for tonight, I like to share a little bit of our challenges, what we have been doing, and also share some um, quick updates on how we can get access to information. And later on, we'll open up the discussion and hear from everyone how you feel about how we're communicating with everyone in and out of our congregation. Okay, without further ado, so what is happening? Right now, we're faced with a couple of key communication challenges when it comes to content. Content meaning the publication that we put out online from the website to Facebook and other social channels. Delivery is how the messages are being, how the content is being delivered. That also includes like newsletter, also social posts, and access to information. Uh, Same thing. When it has something to do with the website newsletter, like Jeffrey and I, we had such a challenge getting to the newsletter, and because we didn't really know who to talk to, how to get there. I tried to do that online myself. All I got was the what do you call it? The announce the announcement for service. I think order of service. That's what I was able to get. So that is causing us, I think, some frictions when it comes to engagement. Engagement meaning how people share their feedback and how people consume that content. Now, after we formed the communication task force, we asked this key question to ourselves, like how might we improve? In this context, how might we leverage communications to realize our strategic goals for our congregation? The goals can include building, how can we build a caring, diverse, and inclusive community through communication or with the help of communication? And how might we establish a establish sustainable spiritual development programs for members of all ages? And how might we also advocate for a just world? Because when we're looking at our congregation and based on what we do and our target audience, there are different types of, I would say, personas within our group. There are people like me, like millennials. We need different things. We want different things, and we have different challenges. There are also, let's say, LGBTQIA plus communities. There are also there are members that are from that community in our congregation. There are families in our congregation. So each of these groups, because they have different challenges, different wants and needs, how we communicate plays a key role on how we engage them. So it cannot be a one size fit all kind of strategy because we're looking at a very diverse group of people. Thanks to our shared belief, shared outlook on life. While we celebrate it, there's a challenge. And when we're looking at the strategy, the process, and production of content, production of communication material. So we're hoping to see how we can create better content, how we can deliver content in a more effective way, and how can we also get engagement with our communication. And we thought, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we had some discussions and some really simple thing came up. Basically, people like me, Jeffrey, and a few folks were just asking, how do we get the information? So we thought that might be an easy way to start the whole journey while we work on the strategy and everything else. So when we're looking at where we're posting our updates right now, centered around our website, we actually have different channels. Yes, Rick. Oh, sorry. Okay, so centered around web, we have these different channels of communication, starting with newsletter, which goes out every week. We have posts on Facebook. Also, I think every week we have different posts going on through Facebook. Instagram is a new thing that we started also a couple weeks ago, and we're looking to see what type of content we might want to put in there. YouTube is a channel, right? Oh, sorry. YouTube is a channel it's a little bit underutilized at the moment, but since the time people spend online, especially watching videos, is growing rapidly, YouTube included, even though there's competition from TikTok. It might be something we can explore to engage folks who don't want to read or reading is difficult. Eventbrite is a platform mostly for events. It can be a really good way to engage external audience, like people who don't know about us. It could also contribute to search engine optimization because they spend money on Google. So whenever someone is searching for something that we might be involved in, that we might pop up, our events might pop up. So that is something we might want to explore. TikTok, I put a question mark there because I don't know exactly how to do that yet. But what I know is TikTok is posing a significant threat to YouTube and Google, because young kids, instead of going to Google, they go to TikTok to search. I found that out during one of the offsites with my coworkers. We're looking for restaurants in that area, and they went to TikTok. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And that means a behavior shift. Yes.
They also go to Reddit and they say when they're looking for, does anybody know if this car is good? And then they'll start a thread that way.
Got it. So we can add Reddit as well, probably at some point. That yeah, I think it's valid. Basically, who our audiences are, and based on where they spend their time, I think we can definitely optimize how we communicate, like what we're doing internally and how we can engage people outside of our congregation. Now, starting from the website, so when I look at the really simple analytics on our website, other than the homepage, coming together, all the calendar page is one of the most visited page. So what it tells me is people care about what's going on. And also, how many of you guys would actually you prefer to use the website on their tablet? Yeah. Oh, so I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say, we are visiting the website on the phone, on the tablet, on the tablet, on the desktop. So I put just really simple screenshots of where we can get that information and what that page might look like. If you go to the website regularly, you're probably more familiar with it than I am. But I thought I just wanted to share that because this page is significant to our congregation. Newsletter. So what I found out was how we can sign up for the current UU Matters newsletter is filling out a form at Sanctuary. I think there's also someone we can talk to. I think it's a Janet. And after you sign up, you can check emails. I think it will go out every week, which I thought that process can be improved because A, people don't know that is the way to sign up. And B, it can be, if we are allowed folks to send us messages online from the website, maybe that is enough for people to sign up for the newsletter because they've already indicated they wanted to hear from us. Then we can make that process a little bit easier. And as for the content for UU Matters, I had a sample email. What I noticed was it's incredibly long, which means it will take folks quite a bit of time to go through everything and find things that they might be interested or find information that's actually very important. So I have a really quick question. Among us here and also online, how many of you guys actually open the newsletter like religiously? Everyone. Great. And how many of you would actually read from the first letter to the last one? Everyone. Oh, okay. Cool. Scan it as in just to see what's there. Yeah, highlights. Cool. No, it's encouraging. I mean, still we still look to newsletter for information, right? And do we go from newsletter to the website at some point? No, right? So that doesn't help the website. Well, I say that because that means there's a lot of duplication. There's a lot of maintenance effort to something that is not reusable, right? Because the next week, then this information is old and you might not want to look at it anymore. Or when you're trying to find some information, you have to dig through your emails to find that piece of information that might be important to you, right? Yes, or we can use a search. My experience was I don't even know where the information is. Anyway, key thing is I think there's a way for us to improve the whole process, how we store the information, how we publish the information, and potentially to maybe simplify what we send out as the initial touch point. And then when folks can find information, fun topics actually they might be interested in, and then dive deeper into that information. And not necessarily in the email format, right? We can still take everyone back to the website, consume it, because it's a little bit easier to pinpoint that information and also maintain that content, no matter who is doing it, right? So we don't have to stress out about keeping keeping really good track of the newsletter. So okay, so that's about newsletter. And then for
regularly, whether it's news or whatever, at the bottom or wherever that information is, they say, do you want more of this or less of this? And you could do that on the newsletter, I think, and ask who's reading it to be specific what they want more of and less of. I think it would be very helpful.
well, social. Oh, okay. Okay, coming back to Facebook. If we don't remember the handle, I think there's a very easy way to get to Facebook page, which is through this Facebook icon. Can you see over here? So either at the top of the page or at the bottom of the page, when you click on that, it would basically take you to the first UU page on Facebook. I wonder, there's updates there, so I wonder if we, among us who are here, if we have any challenge like getting to that information on Facebook. I think for the page itself, you don't have to, but Facebook will try to get you to sign up for an account so that you can see more information. Personally, I don't even use Facebook myself. The downside of not having an account is the information because you won't get an update from Facebook. So you might miss that information. But luckily, we have multiple channels of communication, so we don't have to sign up for Facebook if, like me, if you're not using Facebook.
Yeah, I know some people might not be on Facebook or not use it, but just to share where our outreach is already, we have over 1,000 followers on Facebook. So it's well beyond our membership. So it has a valuable community outreach effect.
For me, I keep visualizing a wagon wheel, like for me, again, I'm like a consultant in the background, but if you put everything in the center and no matter where you come, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, instead of duplicating it all those different times, you can put like a fancy, attractive header and a picture. They click there. They're still in Facebook if they want to stay in Facebook, but it's better if everything directed it to the website, and then you get more synergy is the whole point, that all roads lead to Rome or to our website. Thank you.
Yeah, like what David was saying, I think these social networks is still valuable, right? Because they reach people that we normally couldn't reach, depending on who's looking for what type of content. Hello. Okay. So it is still good for us to publish information there because it helps with search engine optimization and reach folks that are normally were challenged to reach. Okay. What you see here, well, it's really pale, is our newly created Instagram page. Instagram, it was primarily for images, and now there's expanding into videos. And also for folks who is not really who's not on Facebook, they might be on Instagram, and it's still popular among millennials. I don't know who of us are on Instagram, but no matter. Oh, there's David. I am. and same thing. So for Instagram, well, I put a handle here. So if you're on Instagram and if you're not following us, feel free to search UU Palm Beaches and our page should show up. And then that's where you can follow us. Yep. Yes, one consideration is for the handle itself. Usually when you search it once, you don't keep searching it, right? You don't keep searching for it. And then when we put 1ST before UU Palm Beaches, we know it's first UUPB. For someone who doesn't, it just says one STU Palm Beaches. So for that consideration, it's not consistent technically. I agree. But then that's just like the username. It matters to a point, and it doesn't have to like we don't have to be consistent for the sake of being consistent for the sake of consistency. All right.
That's a good point about how we name ourselves. A part of the communications task force also is exploring in strategy and exploration. What do we keep calling ourselves that? What's our name? What do we say to people outside of us? So, like how we identify ourselves is all part of this process of we may shift that.
Right. And I would just tack on to that it's also what are we living into? What are we going to be, right? And do we want to be locked in to the first branding, or are we growing into something else? And so giving ourselves the space to sort of grow into that. Yeah.
So yeah, so for the yeah, so users unless we know exactly what to search for, we don't search for it. Like for someone who doesn't know we are here, they're not going to search for first UU Palm Beaches. They're gonna search for something else. Either they search for like UU Palm Beaches, maybe. They might search for something else. They might search for let's say Halloween, whatever, Palm Beaches. And then if we word our posts right, our posts might show up. And then that is potentially how outsiders could potentially find us. So that's why I'm saying we don't have to be too serious about the handle itself. And also there are other ways for folks to sign up, like not sign up, to follow QR code, all those things that we can think of. So this is just one tiny piece of the puzzle. And and again, we don't have to worry too much about it. Yeah. But Instagram, one thing I wanted to call out was it used to be more about images. I think, but images now, they don't get a lot of reach nowadays. They've changed the algorithm. So they're heavily preferring video formats. So that is also a signal for us. Maybe there's something we can do to, when we wanted to reach more people, maybe it's short video formats, and then maybe it's something we create once and then we share across platforms. Okay, that's Instagram. And next up is YouTube. Again, I think the most recent video I saw on the page is from about a year ago. And then there are a few more videos from 4 years ago. But then again, there's an opportunity for us to improve our presence on YouTube as well. I'm not entirely sure what kind of format we wanted to, what kind of content we wanted to put out there. But I think there's opportunity, and especially the short video formats. I think we can definitely tap into 1 minute, 30 seconds even, as YouTube is also promoting heavily those short videos. I think later we can share the presentation with the whole congregation, because these links, you can, when you click on that, then you get to the page. So also you don't have to remember that. Eventbrite, there's currently no events actually. I remember seeing somewhere that we had like the Halloween thing there.
Do, but I don't. I I think that it's created on a temporary page and not under first UUPB. But we do have an event that we're advertising on Eventbrite right now, and we're holding the Eventbrite space for when we want to make it official for our company.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Right. You created a new Eventbrite account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but it's under
Basic,
under
yeah.
my name. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just it was
There is another one.
we needed to
We have
create
an existing one
Yeah.
that hasn't been used. So again, a lot of this is discovery because
Yep.
manpower and not having people to work on it and not focusing on that part of our life. This is the point we're at now, was where we're doing that. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a discovery for everybody.
Exactly. And sometimes it's also speed. It's like we need an Eventbrite page now. And it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's work in progress. And as you can see on the bottom right corner, I have a question mark for TikTok because I don't have an answer for that. I don't even have a recommendation for that. What I do know is I do spend time on TikTok every day, pretty much. Whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I do spend time. And I think it could be a very powerful way for us to reach, especially younger folks.
One thing I see on TV all the time that I wish we did is they have these short things where they have, say, a couple arguing, and then someone says, no, that's not how you argue. You do this, and then it's brought to you by Unity, or it's brought to you by the Lutheran Council or something like that. And we could just have short little, even something that's just someone saying, you know, live your best life, follow these inspirational words, and from you first, whatever, somebody saying that, and then at least maybe they'd be left with a good feeling and want to find more out about us, that type of thing. So,
Yeah, totally. I mean, we'd be surprised how how the information reach people and how interested people might get once they hear the information. It could be about, the history of UU, right? It could be about why this group of people, is this group of people, how this group came to be. And
I mean, on this fan over here, they have a list of like 12 things we believe. It looks a lot like a lot of stuff I see on TikTok, where they just post it up there and someone reads it, or they, say that. And then at the end, you just go, first you know, follow Palm Beach, whatever, it just doesn't have to be super fancy. And if someone likes it, then they're, or, people who believe like we do, then they would follow it.
yeah, totally. It can, well, we're ideating now. I think it can even be because every week we have different events, different programs, right? So these short formats might be short videos might be a good way to communicate that. Something around, I think next week is about dealing with deaths or something, right? So there can be, I don't know, 10 short videos, each is like 30 seconds about that topic. Someone will find it interesting. Doesn't matter if they are in this area or anywhere in the world. If they're around the world, even better, right? And then because I will say the other congregations, other religions are doing similar things, so there's no reason that we don't try. Yeah. Anyway, I have a question mark there, and I'm happy to explore that idea with everyone and then see what we can do. Okay, then we'll share a little bit of what we have been working on. There's a big chunk of work. Right now, we are working on strategy and process. What that means is how we communicate internally and externally as a congregation, as UU, and in terms of a brand, like how we position ourselves among different, let's say, religions, different congregations, and how we might create content. Sorry, not content. How we create information, how we deliver, and how people can access information. So all of that is being worked on actively in the background. By starting with, you probably remember the survey from last week or this last week. So that is one thing that we have started to work on the feedback that we collected from the surveys. So based on the insight, we are identifying like different target audiences. I don't have the link. So I think last week the survey when I was for the branding one, I don't have it's an email. Yeah. Yeah. It would, I believe it was sent out through newsletter. Yeah. 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 Mm. Anyway, so that's one aspect. The other one you probably see, I was hoping to use this presentation as an example, how we're exploring communication can be designed a little bit better. As you can see, we're venturing into different places and then see how people feel about how we present ourselves, both internally and when we share this with potentially new members and how they might feel. Next one is creating engaging content. This we touched on briefly on different platforms. For different target audiences, we might have different content strategy and different type of content. And then that's a big undertaking, but then again, having identified some of the key audiences, it helps us form ideas and explore ideas so that we don't have to think about just, information that, I like personally, or, Jeffrey likes personally, because I potentially belong to a different type of audience than Jeffrey in this example. So again, it can be this similar type of information, but it can be designed differently and it can be delivered differently, so that people get our information. And then we can engage people in the discussions, in the conversations, and help us grow our congregation. Okay, I was just saying, we like to hear from everyone. Again, it's the same question that we ask ourselves as for the communication task force. How might we leverage communication to realize our strategic goals? Again, these are long questions, but the key thing was how can we improve? So even if you don't see the survey, that's fine. We're happy to hear from you. We're happy to hear from everyone. Every opinion counts. And so if there's anything, feel free to reach out to me, to Greg, or actually anyone. That's it. That's all the content I have for today. As I was sharing with folks, it's very light. It's mostly about what we're doing. And then a few challenges we had, possible things we're exploring, and how we access some of the channels that we are using to communicate.
I just want to say I'm sorry, Kim. Yeah, so just to because I wasn't fast enough with the microphone to get over to Kim. What Kim was asking about was Breeze, which is our database. That's our church database. That folks, if you sign up for membership, or if you just if you sign up to be a member, then you're added to that form, and we can basically assign you to groups. So, for instance, I have the Sacred Text reading group that meets on Mondays, and if you're in that group, then I've tagged you and I can just email everybody in that group. through that database. So that's what that is. Yeah. Yeah, you can also use it for giving. I just wanted to say really quickly, one is thank you, Frank, for going over. This is a really exhaustive list of potential communication, and it highlights something that I think is really important for us to think about going forward, which is that there are two different kinds of communication that we're really talking about going forward. One is how to do better at promoting items that we're doing in the community to community members. And then the other is what's an attractive thing to invite other people who are outside of our community to come in. So it really is sort of solving two problems at one time. And both of those are really big problems to solve. And so the task force, I commend you guys for the work that you're doing. I guess I'm commending myself too, because I'm
You're part of that.
But you can see kind of the two system work that's going on. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I would just ask, and I'll pass the microphone around because I promise not to talk so much, but how the question that I would say is, how do you know about events that happen here at First UUPB? Like, for instance, those of you who are here tonight, either in person or online, how did you know about this event? How did you know to come? What are you looking for to figure out what it is that you want to plug into? Yeah.
This is so basic. I don't even feel like saying it, but if we just exchange the word problem to a possibility, we'll be looking at the future instead of being stuck at where we are. Just a suggestion.
To answer your question, how did I know about this? I was trying to think, because I don't think I necessarily looked at UU Matters. I guess I knew that this committee, that this task force existed. And I think I just asked somebody and they said, oh, well, there's going to be this meeting. So, there's a lot of informal stuff when we get together as a community, whatever, usually Sunday, and, after people do talk about what's going on. So I'm really interested in the internal. And I'm wondering, one thing I wondered, is it possible within UU Matters to have live links? Either someone. Okay, so that already exists.
He keeps losing the mic.
But how far does that go? For example, if this was listed, could it? Oh, if this was listed, did it have a link to show you who to contact to let them know you want to come, or? Oh, it does. So that's all there. So we're at, and the calendar. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I just want to say one other thing. I'm about to join the members. Well, I guess I'm in it already, but the membership committee. And I think that communications is just one of the, the external communications are the internal are obviously about retention and keeping people connected and happy. The external communications are really all of this other aspect of how do we do a better job so that people know we're here. Because I think, people do come here, looking for UU sometimes, but I'm just wondering if there's something else that identifies us that, and I don't know what it is. I don't have an answer for it, but I'm just something else that lets them know that there is this community, oasis of a community in this very conservative area. So that's what I'd love for there to be some simple and not so triggered way to say that. But, when we first moved here, we felt surrounded by, Christ Fellowship and all these other things. And then it was like a light bulb went off. We said, well, there has to be a, it has to be a UU community. And then we found our way here. But I think a lot of people would come here that don't know what they're looking for. So there's some way if I don't know. I'm going to try to, I'll be thinking about ways to express what we are without necessarily using UU, because not everybody knows that's what they want. Know what I mean? Anyway.
I think those are all really great. There were 2 points that I picked up on just to address. One is the role that informal communication plays. Thank you for giving voice to that, Marika, because that's so important. I mean, that's conversations over coffee hour, emails about men's breakfasts. Like this is sort of a spine of communication here, and I think that ways to sort of utilize that sort of informal communication to our advantage is probably a good strategy kind of going forward. And then the other thing that I would say is my wife is part of like a parents, like a left-leaning parents group on Facebook and stuff like that. And I can't tell you how many times during this election season, especially, that so many people have written into their group saying, where is the postcarding thing? I know it's at a church, but what church is it? And stuff like that. And so that's that kind of external communication that if we were to apply sort of marketing to it, folks would sort of know like what our name is, how to get here, stuff like that. Yeah. So
just want to dovetail what you said. I mostly did internal communications in HR, but we did, mindful of public image and all. So I think if you don't know you're a UU, how do you find out kind of that? Like, thank goodness I found it, a long time ago. But so when I thought, I grew up here and I feel alienated. I got too many haters in my neighborhood. I got to find literally like a place to just relax and be me. And I thought, oh, I wonder if there's a UU. So I typed UU, asked my phone, UU nearby, and here we are. I wouldn't have known to call it first, but anyway, point is, I like the idea of the hub because no matter how people are cruising the internet, like I'm a YouTuber, he's a TikToker, we should have a finger in all of those pies, but efficiency and effective. So all the great content and stuff we have, if it was a very efficient way to consolidate it and then put links to each one of those things, like you said, if it's a newsletter, if it's TikTok, it's Instagram, you do it once and then you just duplicate it on the different formats. This was my 2 cents worth. Right? Well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, but yeah, how can we know you're a UU? How can we find you? How can you find us?
I just I wanted to say that I think I'm really impressed with Frank's presentation, and his committee has done an awesome job. I think very, very good. I'm really impressed. And but I mean, how do I watch the newsletter, and I like that. I'm old. I like that little printed thing there. Yeah, I like this. And it's I can just leaf through it, and I do like that. Just keep us old people in mind. So there you go. But I like all the other stuff too. But I just look through that. I can plan my month. Yeah, it's really good. Okay.
Oh,
You asked us, Greg, how we found out about this. I remember it was I listened and I was taught to listen and not be quiet in church and pay attention. So I said, if you want volunteers, here we are. Like it's anyway, word of mouth, but informal form to make it systematic. So word of mouth is easier. Like, I'm on Facebook. Well, 2 different people.
Marika referred to a YouTube video, and that I found, I have Banji singing here, That I did through a link on Instagram. It links to something UU/live. And with the /live, it opened first UUPB live offertory, Alleluia, sung by Evangeline, and a bunch of them in here, one after another, then Lynn singing. So they're there. And I like that link. So I'm thinking, again, in the newsletter, is there a way to actually sign up like an Eventbrite right in the newsletter so that Kim, instead of having to open another email to get or to make a call or whatever to get who's coming, there we are. I'm signing up just like you do on Facebook and so on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is where we talked about, I think very early on, like right now on the website, my assumption was I was signing up for the newsletter, but what I got is a order of service. So that, yeah, there's definitely a way to do that. So that is also something we're working on, like the revamp of the website itself, so that whoever is interested to receive information, they can get information, and then it doesn't have to be a manual process, because it just doesn't have to, because the system has been there for a very long time. And then like all the, let's say, streaming services, right? They're sending us emails, and then whenever we indicate we wanted to hear from them, and sometimes even when we sign out, I mean, even when we opt out, they still send us emails. So definitely lots of opportunities for us to improve how we get information, how we access information, and then depending on the different type of people that we're looking at, there can be different strategies. So I will share with you really quickly. It's information dense, but I think it may shed some light on how we might think about our content strategy and also communication strategy. Okay, so last week there was something based on some data, some insights that we get from the survey and through our conversations with folks. There's some key themes that came up from the feedback we got. Three things: inclusive, welcoming, active and dedicated, progressive and caring. So that covers everyone's input. So these are themes. So I took advantage of AI, because AI had access to a lot of information without going through like a really formal research process. I was basically asking the AI, like, based on those attributes, who are our top audiences? And then here's information I got from so at socially conscious individuals, particularly people who prioritize social justice, equality, and community outreach, right? We have that group specifically already. So I thought, okay, that's a pretty good response. The next one, spiritual seekers, individual exploring diverse spiritual paths and open to non-traditional religious experiences. We also have people, right, who became members, or who showed interest in this new religion. Also, families seeking community, right? That's what Greg brought up. Families wanting engagement, wanting a safe environment to say their children. They wanted to love, acceptance, community involvement. And then the LGBTQ plus community members. We have quite a few couples, if you notice. So to me also, that is dead on as well. Young adults and millennials, myself, and then college kids. So it's like, okay, this is very accurately describing the major types of groups, demographics in our congregation. And so that gave me a lot of confidence to get that information from AI. Okay. Anyway, through a few more interactions, basically, it's like if we look at socially conscious individuals, like what do they want, right? They want opportunities to engage in social justice initiatives, right? They want to advocacy, community outreach. And what do they need? They need a supportive community that aligns with their values and offers platforms to make a positive impact. Then when we think about the communication strategy, like, so how do we communicate that we are a supportive community? How can we communicate? We offer these platforms to make positive impact. So the communication for this group can be more centered around their wants and needs, right? And then for another group, it can be more about, we're communicating this is a safe, open-minded environment, right? That encourages self-exploration and offers resources for spiritual development, right? So we don't have to scramble to find information or just to promote events, right? We can have very targeted content tailored for these different groups of people. And then, every, 5 days of the week, maybe Monday we send information for this type of group. And then Tuesday we send information for this other type of group, right? So we don't have to be too taxed about content or communication or whatever platform. So I won't bore everyone with this. This goes on and on. You want to see? Yeah, I will share this with everyone. This thing, there's a lot to read through. So okay, so for families, let's go through them. Families. Supportive community programs, inclusive family activities, right? We don't want to define families as this type. All families counts, right? Education opportunities, promote progressive values. Again, there's something that we can do to speak to this type of audience. LGBTQ plus, right? Acceptance, validation, affirmation of their identities, inclusive rituals and events. Need safe, welcoming space, right? Free from discrimination, where they can express themselves and be a community, right? And the last one, what is it? Oh, young adults and millennials, right? This group of people.
While you're on young adults, I just throw something in here because I think this is relevant. If you were to write a book for preteens or teens about a family that came together and joined something where there was something for everybody, where everybody came together in a different way in a larger community. There was a little book, like a novel, short story, and let AI take that target and take information like this and create a book. They would create a book for a 12-year-old. Because right now, it's mostly the adults or the grandparents that are pushing kids into UU. They're not against it, but after a while, they're either going to say yes or no. But this is a yes before you get started in a story that a lot of people read because we're missing a lot of this connection in our communities. Thank you for listening.
So if we continue, for young adults, millennials, right? So you can see what we're looking for is a really progressive, inclusive space, right? That both there's a social aspect of it. There's also opportunities to advance whatever they believe in. There are ways to get involved, and there are ways to develop them, like individually.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in real quick, Frank. I think that this is wonderful, this part that you've just presented, because it shows like the people that not only we're looking for, but are probably looking for us. They just don't know how to find us, right? And the other thing about the communities that you've spotlighted here, young adults, young families, LGBTQ, are usually people who are skeptical of institutions or have been hurt by institutions. And so when we're talking about communication, it can often sound like we're talking about marketing or salesmanship. But what we're really doing is we're offering a human face to people who are curious about, how do I find a community where I belong, right? And so a lot of our strategies going forward, if it's Reels or YouTube or something like that, it's providing that sort of human interaction, that human invitation for people, that if they stumble across it online, they're like, oh my gosh, Kim invited me to this church. I want to check that out because she looks like a really interesting person. And she's not trying to sell me on something. She's just honestly inviting me to check it out. And so that's what I like about this approach to communication, is that it's not about being sold to. I'm a Gen Xer. I've been sold to my entire life. I don't want to be sold another thing. And so if we use this in an honest and relationship-based way, I think it can be really, really impactful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, like I said, I think Frank and his committee have done a wonderful job. I just don't want us to forget what a great job Kim has done with the newsletter over all these years. Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. I know that this is a space. Well, actually, no, I'm not sorry. I was going to say Teaching Thursdays is a space where we talk about big ideas, and this is sort of a focused idea, but I think it's a really important idea because it's about not only how we communicate with each other, but how we communicate to people who could potentially be coming here. So I thank you all for your ideas and your feedback, and thank you, Frank, for leading the conversation.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you to all of those that joined us online. I know Dick has been begging for a Zoom session for these Teaching Thursdays, so I'm glad you're able to join us. And just to let everyone know, I've recorded this session. I'll edit it down. We'll put it on YouTube, and we'll put that YouTube link in the next newsletter. So if you want to watch it again, or if you wanted to see Frank's notes from that last bit of the presentation again, you'll be able to access that. So.
Well, thanks everyone for joining.